I'm so glad to see you back on my channel. Welcome back to Life Full of Zest, and welcome to your 7-day Pilates challenge for beginners. If you are new to Pilates, this is the perfect place to start. If you haven't already done so, I'd strongly recommend that you watch one of my other videos before you progress with this one. It teaches you exactly how to activate your core and what you are meant to feel and experience when you are doing the various different types of activations and movements. Let's get straight into it. This is day 1 of our 7-day free Pilates program. Let's get into the center of our mat in a seated position. We're lengthening that spine, replacing our feet a foot and a half away from our glutes. Want your hands placed comfortably behind the back of your knees, and we're slowly going to start with a deep inhale and exhale. And as you're doing so, I want you to draw those scaps down your back and inhale and exhale. And one more, and on this last one you're going to draw that belly to spine, sucking in your pelvic floor and activating that tummy. Deep breath in and exhale. We're slowly going to round that spine, tucking in that chin, rounding our body, stretching out that back, and deep breath in, exhale, opening up, looking up towards the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, rounding that spine. And let's do 2 more. Deep breath in, exhale, opening up. And last one, inhale, exhale, rounding that spine. We're going to lengthen that spine, stacking that vertebra. Bring those arms into a T position. In this position, you really should be feeling that activation in that tummy just by holding and maintaining that good posture, tucking in that chin. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale, lifting arms up towards the ceiling. And inhale back to starting point. That's 1. And 2, we're inhaling and exhaling as we're working. Keeping those knees tucked in, you should be feeling an activation into those inner thighs. Work hard. As I always say, it's quality over quantity. You don't want to do the movement fast. The slower you are, the more precision and control that you have, and that's what we are wanting to achieve today. And let's do one more before we bring our hands towards the center in front of us. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale, arms to center. Inhale, out. Exhale, arms to center. Inhale, out. Slow, controlled movements, maintaining that balance, maintaining that symmetry. And let's do 2 more. Exhale, center. Inhale, back to starting point. And last one. And back to starting point. Bringing our hands back onto our shins. We're going to hug those knees towards our chest, lengthening that spine. And slowly bringing our feet back a foot and a half away from our glutes. We're bringing our hands out in front of us. We're taking a deep breath in, and on that exhale, we're opening that left arm out towards that back corner of that mat and back to center, and doing the same thing with the right hand. And inhale, back to center. Exhale, open. And as we're doing so, we're reaching to opposite walls. And right hand and back to center, and last one on each side, keeping that core tight, and slowly coming back to center. We're going to roll halfway down the mat, so our bodies are at almost a 45-degree angle, sucking in that spine. And we're going to inhale and exhale, bringing arms overhead. Inhale, center. Exhale, bringing arm to T-point, back to center. That's 1. We're doing 6 of these. And 2. Sucking in that belly. If you're struggling to maintain that good core activation, if you're feeling it in your back, then just lift yourself a little bit, but you're keeping those feet on the floor and those knees tucked in. They're about a fist width apart from one another. And bringing those arms back to center and rounding that spine to place your body on the floor. Just make sure that you are in the center of that mat. Want your arms into a T position on the floor, feet slightly larger than shoulder width apart, and we're just going to rock those knees from side to side. You should be feeling some activations into those lower abdominals and into those inner thighs. We're going to bring our feet back into that center position. I want your hands on the floor. Remember to maintain that pelvic positioning, that horizontal pelvic positioning. You want to make sure that you have kept that crisp core activation. We're going to inhale, and on that exhale, lifting right leg into tabletop, then left leg, and keeping that position. I want your ankles and knees in contact with one another. Arms are in that T position. We're going to inhale and exhale, dropping our legs towards the left hand side. Then inhale back to center. These are slow and controlled movements, but I want you to make sure that you're using your activation of your muscles to pull those legs back to center as you work from left to right. I want you to feel your body, build that understanding of your body in time and space. You are in control. Let's do one more on each side before we progress that movement, making sure that you are maintaining that crisp activation and slowly back to center. Keeping those knees where they are and that hip joint angle, we are slowly going to extend those legs up towards the ceiling, then back to starting point, and that's 1, and extend, and 2, sucking down that belly, and 3. We're doing 6 of these, and 4, and exhale up, inhale center, and last one, all the way up and slowly coming back down and hugging those knees towards your chest. We're going to just rock from left to right as a recovery before we continue. If you are feeling the activation or into your legs or any pain into that lower back, it means that you are not in the correct posture positioning. So just stop, reset, and get straight back into it. We are going to interlace our hands comfortably behind our heads, and we are going to, on the exhale, lift head, neck, and chest off the ground, just to the level of the shoulder blades or scaps. But while we're doing this, I want you to make sure that you maintain that positioning of that pelvis. We're going to inhale to pause, exhale slowly, rolling back down. Just make sure that you maintain that those elbows in the periphery of your eyes, and you are doing slow controlled movements. Please make sure that you're not using your neck to do the activation, and if you can't go too hard, then that's okay, as long as you're getting an activation. And exhale up, inhale to pause, exhale down, and inhale, exhale all the way up, sucking in that pelvic floor. Work really hard, and let's do 2 more before we progress the movement. And last one, lifting up. We're going to bring our hands behind the back of our thighs to lift a little bit higher, and arms in front of you, palms on top of one another. You're going to inhale, exhale, bringing the back of your right hand towards the outer part of your left knee and back to center. Exhale, changing over. That's 1. Inhale, center, exhale, rotate. Inhale, center, exhale, rotate. Inhale, center. And let's do 1 more on each side, keeping that pelvis in that neutral. You should be burning in those upper abdominals as well as those lower ones, coming back to center, extending arms up towards the ceiling, slowly interlacing your hands behind your head and dropping that head, neck and chest back onto the floor. We're going to place our hands back on our sides, lifting our right leg into tabletop on that exhale, then that left leg. And we're going to extend both legs up towards the ceiling and lifting head, neck and chest off the floor to place your right hand behind your hands behind your right knee. We're going to lower that left knee as we pull that right knee towards our chest, and then changing over to the other side. And if you do struggle with hamstring tightness, you can just keep that knee bent, and you'll find that the more you practice, the more you continue with your Pilates habit, that flexibility and strength will improve. Just give yourself some grace as you continue with your newfound habit. And slowly dropping those knees back into tabletop and hugging those knees towards your chest. And we are going to lift those knees back up into tabletop and keeping those ankles in contact with one another. We are opening those knees out into a little mini clam. So what we're doing, arms are in a T position. We are squeezing out, coming back to center, then extending, then back to center, then squeezing out, then extending, then coming back to center, then drawing those knees in, back to extension. So that's the movement I want us to do. 6 of those starting from now. That's 1. And extend with those knees closed. Now open those knees and extend with those knees open and closing those knees. That's 3. And while you're doing this, you're making sure that you're keeping that activation and opening and extending. And we've got 2 more after this one. And last one, and extend, and keeping those legs in that extension. We're just going to do little circles of our legs around one another for 10, 9, 8, making sure those ribs aren't flaring. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly bending those legs back to tabletop, dropping right leg down, then your left leg. And we're just going to rock those knees from side to side as a little recovery before we continue. Very nice. I hope you're enjoying that activation. I hope you're enjoying the movement. Let's come back to center, bringing hands onto your sides. We are going to progress into our pelvic curl. So we starting in that horizontal positioning of that pelvis. We're inhaling, and on that exhale we are tilting that pubic bone up towards the ceiling, peeling that pelvis from the bottom of that vertebra, peeling our vertebra off the floor, 1 vertebra at a time, lifting and squeezing those heels into the ground, squeezing those glutes, bringing arms up towards the ceiling, bringing them overhead, then back to center, and slowly rolling that pelvis back down while you keep those hands in that position, palms facing each other. Deep breath in, exhale, lift, 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 lift. Making sure those knees aren't falling out, they are fist width away from one another. And inhale, arms overhead, exhale, back to center, and slowly roll that pelvis back down. We're doing 4 more of these slow controlled movements. Understand your body, understand where you're meant to be feeling that activation. We're exhaling on that up, 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 and inhaling, dropping those arms down. Exhale, back up. Inhale to pause, and exhale, rolling down down, down, down. Slow, controlled. If you're feeling a deep hamstring and glute activation, deep breath in. Exhale, rotating that pelvis, lifting, 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 lifting. Squeezing those glutes. And inhale, lowering those arms, lifting back to center. And slowly inhale to pause and rolling down. Let's do one more. Slow and controlled. Deep breath in. Exhale, lifting that pelvis up towards the ceiling. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Lift that pelvis a little bit higher. And inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, back to center. Now, before we go down, we're just going to do little pulsations up and down. We're emphasizing that glute activation to lift and lower those glutes for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lifting a little bit higher and slowly rolling yourself back down. And bringing those arms into a T position. Feet are slightly larger than shoulder width apart this time, and we're just rocking from side to side. We've got one more exercise in that pelvic curl position before we progress onto our sides. Very nice, everyone. Let's bring our feet back to center. Arms on our sides. Let's take a deep breath in and exhale, progressing into that pelvic curl, lifting those hips off the floor. And if you feel confident, we can bring the arms up towards the ceiling or bring it into your T position. But let's emphasize that left glute max activation. We're going to inhale and exhale, lifting that right knee into tabletop. And from here, we are going to inhale, exhale, lower those arms down and back up as we emphasize that activation of that stabilizing leg, activating that core. And exhale down, inhale, center. That's 2 and 3. Work hard. You want to feel that activation. If you're not feeling that activation, then just stop, reset, and start again. You really want to feel a deep muscular burn into those hamstrings. And let's do 2 more. And up and dropping that right leg down. Deep breath in. Exhale, lifting left leg up. Inhale, exhale, lower. Inhale, center. Exhale, lower. That's 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Back to center, dropping that left leg down, lifting those hips, dropping those arms to exhale and slowly lower that pelvis onto the mat. Let's turn over onto our left hand sides, and I want your knees bent with your ankles, hips and shoulders all align, and I want you to make sure that you have a crisp posture, not slumping into that shoulder, so stabilizing and pushing those ribs away from the floor. And I want you to place your other hand either in front of you or on this glute, and we're going to make sure that those hips are stacked before we continue. So we are opening those knees, that upper knee, and then extending, then back down and back to starting point. So that's the movement, opening that knee, keeping it knee where it is, into extension and slowly back down. Just make sure that if you do feel like that hip needs to open up as you open that knee, then don't lift it as high. And that's 3 and 4. And if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can lift your arm up off the floor to give you more of a stability component. And last one, we're lifting up and extending that leg, flexing that ankle now and holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly dropping that leg down and turning over onto your tummy. We're going to progress into our back extensions before we finish off on our other side of our body. We are placing our hands on our sides, and I want you to press your hands into the side of your hips, drawing those scaps down, activating that tummy, making sure you're not activating your glute max. So you are going to inhale, exhale, lifting your head, neck and chest off the ground, just to the level of those ribs, and inhale to pause, exhale down. And please, if you get any form of back pain during this movement, you can just roll a towel and tuck it under your pelvis. But if you are compromised into that lower back, I wouldn't recommend you starting with this type of exercise. But as we're working, we're lifting and squeezing those hands into your sides, and exhale slowly down and lifting up and slowly down. We've got 2 more, all the way up, exhale down, and last one, lifting up and holding, squeezing those palms into your sides, looking just in front of you for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly coming down, lifting yourself up and getting into that rest position, pushing the shoulders into the ground and coming back over onto all fours, pushing that pelvis into the floor as you open that chest, and slowly walking your hands back along the floor to place that chest back onto the floor, bringing arms extended out in front of you. We're going to lift right arm and left leg on that exhale. Neck is in that neutral. Deep breath in, exhale, lifting and holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly down, lifting left arm and right leg. In this movement, we can activate that glute, make sure that that shoulder isn't coming up towards that ear, pointing those toes, and let's go for another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly down. Doing both arms and both legs. Let's inhale and exhale, lift and hold, knees together, pointing those toes, drawing those scaps down your back. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dropping those limbs and lifting yourself up into that rest position, pushing the shoulders into the ground and slowly walking your hands towards the left hand side, opening that right rib and coming back to center and walking over towards the other side and opening that left rib and slowly coming back to center, coming back onto all fours, dropping that pelvis towards the floor and opening that chest. And slowly coming back into that rest position for one last time before we turn over onto our right hand sides. And lifting yourself up and turning onto that right hand side. We are resting on that elbow, bending those knees, ankle in line with those hips and shoulders, stacking those hips and those shoulders. We are going to inhale, exhale, opening that knee and extend. Remember, that's the movement, making sure that while we're working that we're keeping that hip forward and that we are maintaining that core activation. And let's do 3 more. And extend, bend, dropping down and dropping that knee and opening that knee, extending, bending and slowly coming down. And last one before we do our 10-second hold, lifting up, flexing that ankle and holding, making sure you're not slumping into that lower rib. Let's go for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slowly dropping that knee down and turning over onto your back. Let's place that right knee onto that right ankle onto that left knee, hugging that knee to chest and holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and changing over. Very nice. I hope you enjoyed that workout. Remember, it's the first of 7, so I hope to see you tomorrow to continue our 7-day free Pilates challenge, the perfect program to get you started in that new habit. Let's interlace our left knee over that right knee and just grabbing our ankles and hugging those ankles towards our body and allowing that heart rate to slow down and just reassessing that body, working out where you felt tight, understanding which exercises you feel like you struggled with, where you feel like you can work harder, where you feel like you can improve. And just remember that these decisions are a choice to improve yourself and make you feel more happy and healthy and beautiful. So keep working, it's going to be worth it. Let's finish off with bringing our arms overhead, taking a deep breath in, and as we breathe in, we bring our hands towards the back of our thighs and slowly walking ourselves up into a seated position. We're extending those legs, ankles in line with each other, pointing those toes, arms in front of you. And as we exhale, we are tucking in head, neck and chest all the way towards the floor, bringing those toes and hands in contact with one another as we bring that chest towards those knees, and inhale to pause. Exhale, slowly coming back to stack that vertebra. Let's do one more deep breath in and exhale, slowly reaching forward and extending, extending, extending. And inhale, exhale, slowly rolling back up into seated. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you enjoyed that video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe so that you can get notified whenever I put another video just like this one onto YouTube. See you tomorrow.